Hello, everyone, and welcome back to River City Girls. So we got all the tokens, we got the high score, now to go into the dance club that me Bobo was guarding.
Beautiful, beautiful me Bobo.
I bet you got some moves. You can't even dance properly at that game unless you're twice my size. Actually, now that I think about it, that dance pad probably is me Bobo sized.
Just gonna bring this fish with me.
Yeah, sure. I
Dance
mean,
with it.
Why not? This is like a classic setup for like a nightclub beatdown, you know, an action scene with a disco ball in the background and a sweet music number. But
So I asked Megan, I was like, have you watched John Wick? Like, I need the music to be kind of that style for this.
You know, everyone and their pet hamsters references John Wick, and I still have not watched a single John Wick film.
They're good.
So I hear, but it's just like
It's one of those things where that first movie, you're like, oh, that was a nice, simple action movie. Then they're like, let's explore more of this world and get more and more like bizarre with it. So the movies do kind of like escalate.
Huh. Interesting.
And if you don't want to get too committed to it, the same stunt team and I don't know if it's director, but the same writer. They did a Bob Odenkirk movie called Nobody. That's in. Some people are trying to figure out if it's in the John Wick universe, but it is like a John Wick movie as well because it's the same exact team that made those movies.
Ah, I see. And these three up here, they're just going to keep on dancing. They don't care.
Mm-hmm. Move those hips.
They're enjoying themselves.
So Megan, the composer, is actually in this level. She's up on the second level on the platform.
Wow, he got through that without any damage.
Well, we got food at the end of it, so.
So that was another watching Twitch stream things was like seeing how beat up people got in these screen locks, which I'm forcing upon them. So it is like at least give them some health or something for having to fight through all that stuff. So that's Megan right there with the little music note on her shirt.
Ah, nice.
To the robot club.
So I went to a place literally called the Robot Club in Japan. So this is what another Bannon adventure in Japan homage.
Nice.
The Robot Club is insane. You really need to look up the Robot Club. It did not have electrified floors though, like this. So that swearing right there, that was the actual guard breaker thing. That's why those guys got stunned.
Ah, I see. Oh, the lightsaber. Nice.
This is a legally distinct laser sword, all right?
Sorry, it's a beam katana. Oh, wait, that's taken two. That's taken two. Help.
Is that No More Heroes?
Yeah, that's No More Heroes.
Yeah.
I'm calling attention to it now because it just walked right on past it in the first game, but it was like the best weapon there.
Yep.
And you could just pick it up in like the weapon room before the final boss.
So you'll notice that purple enemy, this was me hinting at you're going to start seeing new enemies, so they're going to start sprinkling in right before you get to a boss. So these are cats. I forget what... I had an acronym for what cats are. It's like cybernetic attack technology system or something. I forget exactly what CAT stands for, but it's an acronym.
All right, let's see if that's on the wiki.
They don't say all your base or belong to us.
Maybe. I swear I've referenced that.
Oh, searching
It'd be
that
weird if
only
I-
gets you.
Oh,
Only-
so cats, I don't think that'll show up anywhere because maybe I haven't said what it is. It was just around the office that I said it.
Well, searching it only gets you the cat collecting quest, so oops.
Maybe you have to do it like an acronym with the like separation.
Maybe. Let's see.
So the Provy voice actor, this was her first voice acting gig ever. I found her on Instagram and she did a spot on impression of every single character from the first game. So Christina V and I were like, we've got to reach out to her. Like, let's give her a try. So this was her first gig ever. I think
Wow,
she
she's
recorded
great.
it. Yeah. But like, I wish I could find those videos again. But yeah, she did spot on impression of so many characters. So she was a super fan, and we reached out, and of course she was like, "Yes, please."
Now, I really like this boss fight. She is all over the place.
Yeah, that was also a challenge to where, since she is a playable character, I had to make sure that these moves worked as a player and as a boss as well. They are slightly more exaggerated as the boss versions, but this arena right here is also my experience at the Robot Club. So they had like giant robot. It was. I truly like look up the Robot Club on your free time because it's worth a look. You have to duck sometimes because the robots are so big, and you might get your head bonked on if you don't duck in time.
Oof. I think part of what makes this boss and the other one actually like really memorable is that it kind of feels like a fighting game at points.
Yeah. And there are a bunch of combos I've seen you guys haven't done yet, because there are a lot more like. And that's another thing. This is.
What?
What? She's freaking out. She's freaking out.
Really enjoying her victory there.
This is another thing I've noticed is you guys. I don't think you guys buy healing items at all.
I had a few and I used them.
But that's the thing is like those empty circles with the arrows. That's where you can store them and use them on the fly.
Yeah, we start using them later when the game gets
Gotcha.
harder.
Yeah, we do learn eventually.
That kind of stuff to me, I'm like, am I a bad designer? Like I didn't convey that.
I don't think it has anything to do with conveyance, to be honest. The early game is a lot of players, especially more completionist type players, are going to be encouraged to eat their first food item in any category right then and there to get the stat boost, rather than storing it and eating it later. So they're going to be wasting a lot of money in the early game, just getting all the stat boosts off their checklist.
Yeah.
And then once they're done that, they're going to be like, okay, now I have money for healing items, which isn't bad. It's just a gameplay. It's just a play style that a lot of, let's call them career gamers, tend to subscribe to in any game that they play.
Yeah, but so that's the thing is I was like, well, they don't have to eat it right there in the store where they don't need. Like they have full stamina. Like why would they eat it right here and not just use it like maybe 2 minutes later when they do need it?
It's because it's easier to like do it at the store and see the check mark go off on the list right in front of you, and then.
Gotcha. We'll just say I am a bad designer, and I should.
Nah. It's just a thing. It's really just a thing. Other players.
And that is the thing, though. Like what you described, like how people are doing it. It's like I'm not also going to tell them no, do it this way. It's like if they want to do it that way, it's a viable and available option for them to do it.
Yeah.
All right,
We did dab kill your boss, so you can't be that bad.
Mhm.
That doesn't prove anything other than you like fighting. Yeah, that's actually an intelligent observation, because these two are anything but good guys.
So Provy in real life gets really sick on like roller coasters and anything that makes her spin. That's why her character spins all the time. In Underground, if you did too much, she would barf.
Oops.
So yeah. And she wouldn't puke, she would barf, because that's a River City Ransom staple. You always have to have the word barf somewhere in the game.
Right.
Right, that's like in the English translation, it's one of the sounds they'd make when you hit them.
Yep.
Was that in the Japanese as well? Is that a direct translation, or was it something completely different?
I mean, it might have been the like that, but they're like barf, I guess. I don't know. So Chris is another character that's from Underground, and I absolutely love what Priscilla did with her design. Like, if we ever did another game, I would love to have her as a playable character, because I just absolutely love the design she gave her. But she is a hired recruit that you can get, and she's got a pretty powerful move.
Yeah, next we're going to Technos.
Yeah, so this is the scenario that brings us to Technos. Embarrassing photos on social media. Okay. Trying to imagine anything of that nature that Kyoko and Misako would actually care about. It's not coming to me.
They care about video games.
Yes,
They,
that is. They certainly do. I like how, like, Pruvy is just having none of their shit.
Yeah. That is another real life Pruvy thing. Like, she has no patience for bullshit at all. So she calls me out all the time on it. So, and it's so funny because real life Pruvy does not give a shit about video games. So I'm like, you're in another game. She's like, that's cool.
You know what I bet it was? Technos posted pictures of Kyoko Misako slapping enemies instead of punching them.
Mm-hmm. Now, if you guys had gone right, there's a bathroom where you could see the piles of Yakuza guys that Pruvy had beaten up. They're just like scattered all over the place.
Oh, nice.
And it's just one of those one-off, just like, if you find it, you find it.
Okay.
Oh, I got hit while looking at the map.
Wes, the guy that's at the bar at the very top, also the hired recruit, he's a boss from Underground as well. So I was really happy to like add in all these like characters that I don't know, I just like created like a decade ago. And now are kind of, part of the lore. I guess not kind of. It's weird to say that they are part of the lore, because I grew up playing these games, but now I'm like, I will say that I grew up playing these games like Double Dragon and River City Ransom, and kind of like being in charge of it now is pretty surreal. It's bizarre to me still.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because as a kid, I drew River City Ransom comic books, like on paper and pencil.
But now, 20 years from now, there's going to be kids saying, oh yeah, I grew up with Bannon's game, and it was so cool, and it inspired me.
They're like, too bad he murdered all those kids. Yeah. You gotta separate the art from the artist.
Nah, what are you talking about? It's totally non-lethal. They'll be okay.
Future Bannon, please don't murder a bunch of children. Okay, I'm just saying.
Okay, let's see.
I find it really fun. Go ahead.
I'm trying to remember like where Technos is compared to where we are now. Oh, it's a couple screens. It's a couple screens down. Okay.
Yeah. Away we go.
What's with the giant tiger bouncer, by the way?
That's a Oni mask guard. I just had to draw something to block off that. That's the final level back there. That's one of the entrances you could take to go to the Yakuza stronghold. So.
Oh, I see.
I just made gigantic, and that was kind of based on how they drew, how they designed Kingpin in Spider-Verse, where he was just like a wall. You were really having a hard time with that fish.
Now
Yeah,
getting
there was
any
also a
stunts at
bit of
all.
lag at some parts of the game that made it hard to do kind of like precision movements.
When so what were you playing this on?
I
He
played
was
it
playing
on.
on-
yeah,
He was playing it on PC. I was playing on Switch. I was
Gotcha.
playing in Georgia, and he was playing in Washington State.
Yeah, the Switch definitely online was always a struggle to get that to run at full capacity.
Yeah.
There was one reason why
It ran fine for the most part, except for one boss, which we'll get to later.
Yeah, the bosses were the hardest part. I kind of worked my tactics around it, where I started using lots of moves that covered large areas and avoided the high precision stuff.
When did you guys play this, by the way?
This was like last June, July.
Oh yeah,
was almost a
we've
year ago.
actually we've updated the game so the frame rate's better and the controls way better. So even online now does support the 4 players, but that is on only next gen stuff and PC. So
Yeah, I remember that update came out like a bit after we finished the game.
yeah, so it's improved a lot. Yeah, so the whole thing about how this game was hard to make online is because of the RPG stuff, is the fact that, as I've always described it, like something like the Turtles game is you're asking your friend to just come over to your place and they bring like a backpack because there's not a lot of stuff like the save data stuff that they have to bring to play that game. But in these games, you ask a friend to come over and they bring a backpack, their own bed, their whole wardrobe. So the save data and all that stuff, like the recruits, all their accessories, all the items, all their like save data has to also be playing in your game as well. So it just made everything just like very hard to like ping that info back and forth between all the different players, if that makes any
Yeah.
sense.
No, it does.
Yeah.
Like I did notice in playtesting when I captured all the recruits, then like in early versions of the game, it would slow down so much because it was just like you're bringing like 500 people with you.
And just shove them all into Kyoko's house.
Yep.
You got no idea.
Abobo's offering his services.
No, so this is Jack. This isn't a Bobo.
No, I was
This
looking
is-
down at the social media posts.
Oh, gotcha.
Abobo was offering his services and says, "Come down to my apartment." I guess that.
Oh, that's another thing that's another, you don't have to do it, but if you go to a Bobo's apartment, there is now a scene there that you can miss if you don't go into this useless room.
I think we go to a Bobo's apartment later.
And that's another thing is if you had gone to a Bobo's apartment after talking to me Bobo, you would see me Bobo and a Bobo hanging out in the apartment. But now you see all 3 of them hanging out. So
Yeah,
it's
we
like
do
all
a
these
little-
like one-off things.
We do a little more exploring later in the game. We're still kind of in the Misako beelines from
Oh, yeah,
one
yeah.
thing to the next, and Kyoko tries to keep up and gets distracted.
But that's what I was saying with the Charlie. It's Always Sunny. Like I had to map out all these. Like, what if they do stop right here and they go all the way through downtown instead of like they keep going? So it was a pain, but it was fun trying to figure out like what a player would do.
The attention to detail really shows.
Yeah, the QA department was a massive help. By the way, this whole level was a pain in the ass to animate because I had to do the reflections on the ground, which I guess means everybody's a vampire because they don't have reflections.
Going deep lore here.
Yep. Crash and the Boys is another Kunio-kun game that gets referenced later when you meet a guy named Crash. So if you look up Crash and the Boys, that NES cover is all those characters got mushed together to make Crash. Because Crash, this is the weirdness of the Kunio-kun stuff, is, by the way, this guy does show up in that cover that I sent you with the Tiger Man on it. You can
What?
see him wearing the blue shirt.
Athletic bottom, regain health when carrying enemies. Okay, just pick up an enemy and walk around with them for a little while to get some health back.
Just build your entire build around that.
What?
By the way, all these. So this is he's not this character in the normal Kunio-kun franchise, but all these characters were so fun to like. I wouldn't say completely fun because we had to go through about like 20 or 30 voice actors per character. It literally took like 3 months to get through all of it, but when we found that voice actor that was like, there it is, like he was one of those, like, there, he nailed it. That was always such a great feeling to go, that's our Sonakawa. Like,
Ah, man. I liked him better when he was poor and dorky.
So now we got to go all the way to the right.
I think that, I don't know if you guys went into it. There's a dinosaur themed taqueria that was really hard to describe to Arc System Works for translation because they were all like puns that didn't make any sense in, like, they barely make sense in English, so they wouldn't make sense in Japanese.
I think we go into every room at some point in this playthrough, but we'll get to that probably next part.
Brianna Knickerbocker, the voice of Suiko there, was one of those like, oh, there's the voice. Thank God.
The hologram girl.
Yeah, she nailed it. Like, I was just like, yes, there it is.
I was just like, okay, random hologram at the bar. That's
Yeah,
what?
perfectly normal.
Yeah, preview of one of our toughest boss fights.
And that was the thing, was I was trying to go with the theme of she has no idea who you are and doesn't notice you the entire time. We had to have like specific tech just to make sure. If you had blocked that at the specific time, you would have caught that boomerang.
Yeah, I
Oh.
tried to do that a couple times. I might succeed eventually. I don't remember if I ever pull it off.
It looked like you tried to hit it though.
Yeah, it's possible.
But yeah, we had to have tech in there to make sure that Suiko never looked at the player during the boss fight.
It's actually not 25% foot flow, but I could see how a pair of pre-nut dum-dums like you might get lost here anyway.
Did that hologram just
Did that hologram just insult us? Yeah, it did. What are you gonna do about it? It's a hologram.
Kyoko.
You can't exactly smack it with a fish now, can you?
She's 82 and retired and, dead. You're the one who's been embarrassing us on social media. Maybe. Legally, as a Technos employee, I can't come
We're almost at the end of this one.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I'm just like,
You sleepy?
yeah, I am sleepy, but I'm also kind of mesmerized by the guy behind the guy behind the counter and his like speckly bald head, and I'm like, what?
Mhm.
Okay,
He's got those liver spots. He's surrounded by alcohol his whole life.
I guess that would explain it. I think.
He's probably one of the old Technos employees that's been there since the 80s too.
Tending bar the whole time, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
If you're good at what you do.
Mm.
He's a pixel artist and sound designer and the bartender.
Mm.
how about that?
Multi-talented.